Demon Slayer has exploded in popularity ever since the anime came out in 2019. With stunning animation and memorable characters, it's easy to see why it's such a hit. With a third season set to come out soon, Demon Slayer fans have plenty to look forward to. If you haven't seen the anime yet or want a recap before the new season, then this video is just the place for you. We are going to go over a recap of Demon Slayer right up to the end of Season 1. We've got a lot of story to cover, so we're not going to waste any more time. Let's go! At the start of the series, our hero, Tanjiro Kamado, seems to be nothing but a humble charcoal seller with a keen sense of smell. But everything changes one day when he returns home, only to find that all of his family is dead. The only one still showing signs of life is his little sister, Nezuko. He tries talking to her to get help, but when she regains consciousness, he realizes the horrible truth. His family was killed by a demon, and now Nezuko is beginning to transform into one herself. Tanjiro and Nezuko both encounter a professional demon slayer named Giyu Tomioka. At first, he tries to kill Nezuko, but Tanjiro defends her. However, when Nezuko tries to protect her brother, Giyu realizes she's resisting her demonic urges. After this, Giyu sends Tanjiro to go meet the man who trained him. That man is named Sakonji Urokodaki, an old man who always wears a Tengu mask. Tanjiro finds him and requests training, which Urokodaki accepts. Shortly after arriving at Urokodaki's cottage, Nezuko falls into a deep sleep. While he waits for Nezuko to recover, Tanjiro starts his training. Both his training and Nezuko's coma last for 1.5 years until Urokodaki gives Tanjiro one final task. He must split an enormous boulder in half. It seems like an impossible task, but with another half a year of training and some help from the ghosts of 2 former students of Urokodaki's, Tanjiro is able to split the boulder. After this, Tanjiro is sent off to the final selection. It's the last test that'll tell if Tanjiro is accepted into the Demon Slayer Corps or not. He must spend an entire week on a mountain full of demons. During this test, Tanjiro encounters an enormous demon that claims to have killed all of Urokodaki's former students, including the 2 who helped train Tanjiro. Tanjiro fights the demon and, with all of the skills he got from his training, is able to defeat it and avenge Urokodaki's students. Once the final selection is over, Tanjiro returns to Urokodaki, where he is given a specially forged katana called a Nichiren. Cutting a demon's head off with a Nichiren blade is one of the only ways to kill it. When Tanjiro touches his katana, the blade turns black. Something incredibly rare, but also a sign of bad luck. Nezuko finally wakes up from her nearly 2-year-long slumber, and both her and Tanjiro are ready to be demon slayers. Tanjiro is sent to Asakusa to investigate some demonic activity. While there, Tanjiro encounters not just any demon, but the demon who killed his family. His name is Muzan Kibutsuji. Tanjiro also discovers that somehow Muzan has a wife and a child who are both fully human. He tries confronting Muzan about this, but Muzan transforms a bystander into a demon and makes his escape. During all of the chaos, Tanjiro encounters 2 strangers, Tamayo and Yushiro, both who are demons, but like with Nezuko, they're friendly to humans. They take Tanjiro to Tamayo's house and explain a few things to him. Tamayo is a doctor and has learned a way to transform humans into demons, but only if they're dying and really want it. The only other person who can create more demons is Muzan Kibutsuji himself. While they were there, Tamayo's house is attacked by a pair of demons, one that attacks using tamari balls and the other with arrows. They claim to be members of the 12 Kazuki, Muzan's elite demons, but it turns out that they're only bluffing and are just regular demons. Tanjiro fights the 2 demons, and in the process he learns something. If a demon speaks Muzan's name, they're torn apart from the inside and killed instantly. This is how the tamari ball demon is defeated. After the battle is over, Tanjiro and Nezuko part ways with Tamayo and Yushiro. They head off to their next mission. But along the way, Tanjiro runs into a strange boy named Zenitsu. Tanjiro recognizes Zenitsu from the final selection, but it looks like Zenitsu may not be cut out for Demon Slayer work thanks to his constant panicking. The 2 of them encounter a mysterious mansion in the forest. Two children nearby claim to have escaped from the mansion but say that their brother is still trapped inside. Tanjiro enters the mansion to try to find the boy while Zenitsu reluctantly follows after him. They end up getting separated and each of them has an encounter of their own. Zenitsu runs into a strange boy wearing a boar's head. This is Inosuke, another one of the boys at final selection and a fellow demon slayer. Zenitsu freaks out and faints while fighting a demon, but that's when we find out something interesting about him. Despite being a nervous wreck most of the time, Zenitsu is actually a capable fighter, at least when he's asleep. He goes into a sleepwalking state and is able to put up a pretty good fight. Meanwhile, Tanjiro ends up finding the demon in charge of this mansion. His name is Kyogai, and he has a very special connection to the house. Attached to Kyogai's body are various Suzumi drums. Whenever he hits one of the drums, the layout of the mansion warps around him. Kyogai turns out to be a former member of the 12 Kizuki. He was kicked out for being too weak, and now his goal is to eat enough humans so that he becomes stronger again. We learn that the boy trapped in the house, the one Tanjiro was sent after, has a special type of blood. Something about how potent his blood is means that Kyogai will become more powerful than before. After a tough battle, Tanjiro is able to kill Kyogai, but there is still some trouble. When Tanjiro leaves the mansion again, he finds that Inosuke and Zenitsu have gotten into a fight. Inosuke wants to kill Nezuko, but Zenitsu is protecting her since he can tell she's important to Tanjiro. Inosuke is still being incredibly stubborn, so Tanjiro knocks him out with a headbutt. In the process, Inosuke's mask falls off. Turns out that despite his strange, feral child appearance, Inosuke has a delicate and feminine face. After a quick rest stop, the three of them are sent up to Mount Natagumo, and it proves to be their toughest mission yet. When they arrive, they find a group of panicking demon slayers. They see that there used to be more of them, but all of a sudden they started killing each other. It turns out the mountain is home to a family of demons with spider-like powers. The first one they encounter is the mother of this family. The mother has the power to use strings in order to manipulate people like puppets. However, with some help from Inosuke, Tanjiro is able to behead her. But the fight is far from over. Zenitsu has the misfortune of encountering the next member of the spider family. This one is a giant spider with a human head who poisons Zenitsu. It explains that anyone poisoned by him will slowly be transformed into a mindless human spider hybrid. It turns out that even after all of his training, Zenitsu only knows one kind of thunder-breathing technique. The good news is he perfected that one technique and is able to kill the spider demon. It's right around then that two Hashira show up. The Hashira are essentially the most elite of the Demon Slayer Corps. The two Hashira end up being Water Hashira Gyu, who we all met way back in episode 1, and a new character named Shinobu, the Insect Hashira. Shinobu ends up finding Zenitsu and gives him an antidote to the spider poison inside of him. Meanwhile, Inosuke and Tanjiro end up running into the father of the spider family. They try fighting it, but Tanjiro ends up getting launched into the air. Gyu arrives on the scene and easily kills the father spider. It turns out that despite his terrifying appearance, he was not one of the 12 Kizuki. That honor actually belongs to one of the sons of the family, a spider demon named Rui. And as it happens, Tanjiro has just encountered Rui. During the fight, Nezuko ends up trapped in Rui's webs and Tanjiro's sword breaks. For a moment, Tanjiro thinks he's about to die, and his life flashes before his eyes. He remembers something about his father right then, a special fire dance called Hinokami Kagura. Tanjiro attacks Rui using this technique, but Rui's spiderwebs are still in the way. Luckily, Nezuko uses her burning demonic blood to burn the webs away, giving Tanjiro the opening. He beheads Rui, but he hasn't actually won. Rui had actually severed his own head before Tanjiro had a chance. Tanjiro collapses from exhaustion, but right then, Gyu arrives on the scene to battle Rui and finishes off the spider demon. There's still one spider demon left, however. the daughter of the family, and as she's trying to escape in all of the chaos, she encounters Shinobu. At first, the daughter assumes Shinobu is going to spare her, but instead, Shinobu poisons her. Shinobu regroups with Giyu only to realize that Nezuko is a demon, and as a demon, it's her job to kill her. Tanjiro tries to run only to be stopped by one of Shinobu's students, Kanao Tsuyuri. Like with Zenitsu and Inosuke, she was also there at the final selection. Before Shinobu can do anything to Tanjiro or Nezuko, she receives a message that the two of them are to be brought to the Demon Slayer headquarters alive. Once they are at the headquarters, a trial is held by the Hashira in order to decide what to do with Nezuko. One of the Hashira cuts his arm in order to tempt Nezuko with his blood, but she manages to suppress her demonic instincts. Because of this, they decide not to kill Nezuko. After this, Tanjiro is taken to Shinobu's mansion in order to undergo some sort of special training, alongside Zenitsu and Inosuke. They're all even able to master total concentration breathing. Meanwhile, Muzan has summoned the 5 lowest-ranking demons in the 12 Kazuki to meet with him. Muzan is displeased by Rui's death and more generally, how often the lower 6 Kazuki die. So he kills off 4 of the remaining 5 except for one named Enmu. Enmu is the only one to accept his fate and beg for death. Impressed by his loyalty, Muzan gives Enmu some of his blood as a power-up. And that's where Season 1 left off, with most of the lower 12 Kazuki dead and Tanjiro as a rising star in the world of demon slaying. Remember, our videos are no substitute for the real thing. We absolutely recommend watching the anime for yourself. And of course, there's still a movie and a second season to talk about. So stay tuned, because we got a video all about that planned.